LinkedIn is still such an untapped resource for marketers and business owners wanting to expand their professional network. And a great first step in getting noticed on the platform is to create a professional cover photo for your LinkedIn profile. And for those of you who are still thinking that this is just a platform to look for jobs, LinkedIn's own stats show that they have 15 times more content impressions than job postings. So whether you're looking for work or just looking to get noticed by people from within your industry, let's take a look at how you can create a professional and mobile optimized cover photo for your LinkedIn profile. If you click into the link that's in the description of this video, you will pop up to a screen like this and you'll be able to use the template I've created for you, or you can create your own just with these dimensions, and I'm going to get to that in just a sec. But if you just say use template, you're going to get this beautiful option to basically create a completely mobile optimized version of your LinkedIn banner, which is a little bit different from the LinkedIn banners that are on Canva. First of all, they are slightly different dimensions, so they're 2000 by 600 pixels, but they're also just very not mobile friendly in my experience. So a lot of them will have text where your profile image will appear, so it wouldn't actually be legible on desktop or on mobile, and Canva just doesn't really account for this. So using my templates, you'll be able to make sure that everything in your beautiful design is where it should be. But if you do want to create your own custom dimensions, just select 1400 by 350. That seems to be the best dimensions for LinkedIn in my experience. And as with any Canva design, I like bringing in some inspiration shots first and foremost before going and using these templates. So I would just go on over to LinkedIn and have a look at some company pages like the one from Digital Marketer over here. So the dimensions of this will be slightly different, but just for inspiration purposes, it works. And then maybe some other ones like Simon Sinek's or other public figures, because yes, people can see on LinkedIn if you're stalking them. So if you're doing this with like coworkers, it can be a bit weird if they can see that you've been looking at their profile, but public figures like Tony Robbins and Simon Sinek definitely won't care. So you can bring in a couple of screenshots of profiles to draw inspiration from and put them in your uploads folder so that you can draw inspiration from these as you're designing. So I would just add a couple of new pages to my design and drag these in so that I can have them there for reference if I ever want to look back on them. You don't necessarily need to do this, it's just an extra step, but I like doing this with my Canva designs. But of course, you'll have my own reference photo there for you as well within your template. One thing you will notice is that the actual profile photo of these example photos is a lot smaller than my circle here, and that's just because that dark green circle on your template is supposed to encompass the space on both mobile and desktop. So just make sure you're not putting any crucial information in that area to make sure it's not cut off. Now, in terms of searching for templates, you could search by industry. So for example, I could say something like marketer LinkedIn or real estate agent LinkedIn or something like that that's really specific to your job title, and browse through these. But really, if you're just looking for inspiration, I find that the best ones sometimes are not within my particular industry. So I like drawing inspiration from others as well. Something creative like graphic designer or artist can usually do the trick in terms of pulling up some templates that are really inspiring, and then you can just add some new pages into your design and start pulling a couple of designs that really resonate with you. It doesn't mean you're going to be using every single element from that template. It just means that maybe there's something about it that's really caught your eye, whether that's the colors or the shapes, and then you can bring those little individual elements onto your template, making sure you're copying it so you've still got the original template there. And I would just start dragging in a couple of the elements that have really resonated with me that I want to use for my actual LinkedIn profile design, like some of these fonts and some of the shapes that you're seeing. We are going to edit the colors of these, so you don't necessarily need to worry about that yet. And of course, the actual background of the template's going to be gone as well. Now, if you do want to have some calls to action like these example templates here, if you maybe have a podcast or a YouTube video or an event coming up, you could put that in this space. But for now, I'm just trying to keep things really simple. And I think for beginners especially, the hardest thing is to not overcomplicate things with too many elements. So sometimes it's nice to start just by putting in your name and your job title, maybe a little bit about yourself if you've got like a catchphrase or something that you want to share with your audience. But keeping things really simple at the beginning can be quite nice. And so I'm not going to complicate it with, having too many calls to action here. I would just make sure everything is aligned and all of my beautiful text here is just within the yellow area of the template, because that's going to be visible on both desktop and mobile, so I don't have to worry about it being cut off. And at any point while you're designing, if you just adjust the transparency of my template there, you'll be able to see the background color, and you can change that, of course, so that it'll show you exactly what it'll look like once it's actually on your profile. Then if you head over to styles, if you've got styles because you're on a Canva Pro account, you'll also be able to change the colors of all the different elements in there by shuffling through the different options. If you don't have styles, don't worry about that too much. You can just manually adjust all the colors of the design to make sure that everything is on brand and playing together beautifully. Then if you want to bring in a couple of photos of yourself, of course you will have your profile photo as a part of this as well on your LinkedIn profile. But I like bringing in an additional photo of myself, so I've got a folder with all photos of me that I can use for my marketing materials, and I'll just bring that into my kind of blob frame that I've got here. And if you double click into that, you can also size it up to make sure that it's only showing the part of the photo that you want to be showing. And you can also desaturate it if you want the rest of the graphic to pop a little bit. That's my own personal style, so it may not necessarily suit what you're looking for, but just making sure that you are aware of the fact that even though, this is a pretty big banner, it will show up as quite small on your LinkedIn mobile version. So you want to make sure that you're testing this, especially when you actually put it onto your profile and see that all the text is legible, and especially with smaller fonts like these, that everything is readable, and keep checking that it's mobile friendly and it's not within that dark green zone. Every time you're sort of adjusting your template there, you want to make sure you keep checking back in on that. Then you can also bring in a frame and a photo of yourself that is your existing profile photo on LinkedIn to see how it plays with the design that you've created here. So I've just brought in my profile photo from LinkedIn, and I would adjust the transparency again to see how these colors play together, where I would probably say that this actually doesn't work very well. So I would either have to change the color of the template that I've created for my banner, or the actual color and the design of my profile photo. So whether or not you want to change one or the other, but sometimes when you put it all together like this, you'll actually notice that these two don't play together very well. So you might just need to make a few final adjustments in terms of my layout here and the actual text to make sure that it's all looking good, because it might be slightly counterintuitive when you're looking at this template, because the text is not actually in the middle of your graphic like a lot of the Canva template designs will suggest. It's slightly off to the right because of where your profile photo sits. So just be mindful of that. And then additionally, if you want to bring in some sort of an element in terms of bringing in your Instagram handle or your YouTube channel or your website or something like that, where you can give people additional ways to connect with you outside of just LinkedIn. And then additionally, if you want to add in any other last minute flourishes, because maybe the design is feeling a little bit flat, so this is just my own personal preference. I like making things look relatively dynamic, even if I am maybe just using solid colors. And then I would just add in an email address, or again, like I said, another different call to action. So like you've seen with Tony Robbins or Simon Sinek, they might have a little bit of an attention draw there to a regular podcast or newsletter or an event coming up. So this is just a bit more of an advanced feature. You absolutely do not have to do that, but it can be a good way to utilize the space and give people a different way to connect with you online outside of just your LinkedIn profile. So that's all looking good. I'm quite happy with how it's turning out. I might just change a couple of these elements to be slightly different colors other than white, just because that's the text box that I have for my web address and the image of myself there. But other than that, I quite like it. I would just adjust things a little bit just for size, but I might actually go over and see how this looks on my profile before messing around with sizing and things like that too much. And then you want to make sure you're deleting the profile image placeholder there before going in and exporting this as a PNG, because obviously that's going to be live on LinkedIn. So just download that and then we'll head on over to LinkedIn. Quick tutorial pause. I wanted to ask if there are any other LinkedIn tutorials or trainings that you'd like to see from me on this channel. If there are, let me know in the comments below this video. And now let's just jump back in. Alrighty, so on LinkedIn, you just want to make sure you are clicking on the edit button, whether you have to delete the photo or just change it, depending on whether or not you have anything there in place already, and just bringing in your PNG and making sure that that all looks good. And then just hit apply and check how it looks both on desktop and on mobile. So desktop version looks good. And with the mobile version, you might have to go back and forth a couple of times because of font sizes and things like that. But that's looking pretty good. I'd be quite happy with that. Thanks for watching this training on how to create an awesome LinkedIn profile cover photo. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a future training. Have an awesome day, guys, and I will catch you in the next video.